Level 1, the arrest. The detectives show up at 6 a.m. You're still in bed when the pounding starts. 3 uniformed officers, 2 plainclothes detectives, all of them looking at you like you're already guilty of something you didn't do. They say your name. They say you're under arrest for armed robbery and assault. You tell them there's been a mistake. They've heard that before. They don't care. The handcuffs go on tighter than necessary. They walk you past your neighbors who are watching through windows and doorways, phones out, recording everything. At the station, they put you in a room with a metal table and 2 chairs. The detective across from you has a folder with your name on it. He opens it slowly, deliberately. There are photos inside. A convenience store. A man on the ground bleeding. A grainy security camera image of someone who might look like you if you squint and want it to be you. The detective says 3 witnesses identified you. He says your car was spotted 2 blocks away. He says they have evidence linking you to the scene. You ask what evidence. He doesn't answer. You ask for a lawyer. He sighs like you just made his job harder and leaves the room. You sit alone for 4 hours before anyone comes back. The public defender they assign you is handling 87 cases. You're number 88. She's younger than you expected, more exhausted than anyone should be. She has 15 minutes before her next client. She asks if you did it. You say no. She writes something down. She asks where you were that night. You were home alone, watching television, eating leftover pizza. No witnesses, no receipts, no digital trail proving your location because you didn't think you'd need an alibi for existing in your own apartment. She explains the charges. Armed robbery carries 10 to 25 years. Aggravated assault adds another 5 to 15. The prosecution is offering a plea deal. Plead guilty to robbery, they'll drop the assault charge. 7 years, possibility of parole in 4. She recommends you take it. Going to trial is risky. Juries convict. Public defenders lose more than they win. 7 years is better than 25. You tell her you're innocent. She's heard that before too. Level 2, the wait. Bail is set at $100,000. You'd need $10,000 cash to get out. You have $1,400 in your checking account and $200 in savings. You're staying in county jail until trial. The cell is 8 by 10 feet. You share it with a man who hasn't showered in a week. The toilet is next to the bed. No privacy, no barrier. The smell is something you'll never forget. You wait 14 months for your trial date. 14 months of eating food that barely qualifies as food. 14 months of strip searches and head counts and watching people have mental breakdowns in real time. You lose your apartment. You lose your job. Your girlfriend stops visiting after month 3. She says she believes you, but belief doesn't pay her rent. She moves on. Everyone moves on except you. The days in county have their own rhythm. You learn it fast because the alternative is being caught off guard, and being caught off guard in here has consequences. You learn which meals are edible and which ones you choke down anyway. You learn that the man in the cell across from you screams every night around 2 a.m. and that nobody comes. You learn that the guards rotate on a schedule and that the Thursday night crew is the one you want when you need something handled quietly. You learn patience in the specific way that people who have no other option learn it, not as a virtue, but as a survival mechanism. Your public defender visits twice during those 14 months. Once to discuss the plea deal again. Once to prepare for trial. She has new information. One witness has a history of misidentification. Another has a pending charge and might be cooperating for leniency. The third picked you out of a photo lineup that included 5 people who looked nothing like the original description. This should help. This should matter. Level 3. The trial. The courtroom is smaller than you imagined. The jury box holds 12 people who will decide your future based on incomplete information and the persuasiveness of strangers. None of them want to be here. All of them have already made up their minds about you. You can see it in how they won't make eye contact. The prosecutor tells a story. A violent robbery, a terrified clerk, a victim who still has nightmares. He points at you. He says you did this. The witnesses take the stand one by one. Yes, that's him. I'm certain. I'll never forget his face. The defense cross-examines, points out inconsistencies, highlights the poor lighting, the stress, the suggestion inherent in how the lineup was conducted. But juries believe eyewitnesses. Studies show they're wrong 30% of the time, but juries don't know the studies. They know what feels true. Your attorney puts you on the stand. You tell your story. You were home that night. You've never been to that store. You've never hurt anyone. The prosecutor cross-examines. He makes your truthful answers sound like lies through tone and implication. The jury deliberates for 6 hours. You sit in a holding cell listening to the clock tick. They return. The foreman stands. Guilty on all counts. The judge gives you 15 years. Fair, he calls it. Fair would be not being here at all. Level 4. The years. State prison is different from county jail. Harder, more violent, more organized. You keep your head down. You follow the unwritten rules. Don't ask questions. Don't stare. Don't show weakness. Don't trust anyone. The days blur together. Wake up, work detail, lockdown, sleep, repeat. Every day identical to the last. You work in the prison library. You read legal books. You find cases, precedents, procedural errors. You write letters to innocence projects, to advocacy groups, to anyone who might listen. Most don't respond. Year 3, a response arrives. 1 page. An attorney named Marcus, staff counsel at a wrongful conviction nonprofit that reviews cases with eyewitness identification issues. He says your case fits their criteria. He says he wants to talk. He visits 3 weeks later. He's younger than you expected. He has a yellow legal pad and a pen, and the specific kind of attention that comes from someone who chose this work on purpose. He asks questions nobody else has asked. Not just where you were that night, but everything. Your relationship with the neighborhood, anyone who might have had reason to set you up, every detail from the night of your arrest forward. He writes everything down. He doesn't promise anything. He says he needs to review the full file. He says these things take time. He comes back. And again. He brings paralegals. He files discovery requests. He digs up the original lineup documentation and finds something your trial attorney missed. The officer who conducted the photo lineup told one of the witnesses they'd done well after the identification. A single comment. A contamination of the process that should have been flagged and wasn't. Year 5. Your mother dies. Heart attack. You request permission to attend the funeral. Denied. Security risk. You're allowed a phone call to your sister. She says mom never stopped believing you. She says mom spent her savings on attorneys who couldn't help. She says mom died still hoping you'd come home. You hang up. You don't cry because crying is weakness and weakness gets you hurt. But that night you let yourself feel it. All of it. Marcus calls the next week. He says he's sorry. He says the appeal is moving. He says, don't give up. His voice has the specific quality of someone saying something true, rather than something comforting. You believe him because he's never told you what you wanted to hear, only what he actually knew. Year 8. Familial, DNA technology. The Innocence Project has been applying it to cold case evidence across the state. The DNA from the robbery scene. It's not yours. It never was. But now they can prove it. They've found a match. A man with a record. Similar height, similar build, similar car. Already in prison for other robberies. Same method. Same store chain. Marcus files the motion on a Tuesday morning. He calls you after it's submitted. He says the prosecution will fight it. He says it will take another year at least. He says hold on. Year 9. The judge orders a new trial. The prosecutor offers a deal. Time served, immediate release, plea to a lesser charge. Marcus calls you that evening. He says the decision is yours. He says he'll support whatever you choose. But he also says he thinks you can win. You refuse the deal. You didn't do this. You won't say you did. The second trial takes 4 days. The DNA evidence comes in. The defense expert dismantles the eyewitness testimony. The actual perpetrator is named. The jury deliberates for 2 hours. Not guilty. Marcus is standing outside the courtroom when you walk out. He shakes your hand. He doesn't say much. He doesn't have to. Level 5, the aftermath. You stand on the courthouse steps with nothing. No job waiting. No apartment. No savings account with 9 years of accumulated paychecks. The world moved on without you. Technology changed. Culture shifted. People you knew have different lives now. Lives that don't include you. Your sister lets you stay in her spare room. She's married now, has 2 kids you've never met outside of visiting room glass. They're scared of you at first. You're a stranger who looks like their uncle but acts like someone who's been living in a war zone. You apply for jobs. Every application asks about criminal history. You write wrongfully convicted, exonerated in the explanation box. Nobody calls back. The conviction was erased from your record, but it's not erased from Google. Your name pulls up news articles about the arrest, the trial, the conviction. The exoneration gets less coverage. Innocence doesn't sell papers like guilt does. You file for compensation. Your state has a wrongful conviction law. $50,000 per year of incarceration. You eventually receive $300,000. After attorney fees and taxes, you net $180,000. $20,000 per year of wrongful imprisonment. Less than minimum wage. You're supposed to feel grateful. You try therapy. The therapist specializes in trauma. She asks about your childhood. You tell her your childhood ended at 25 when the detectives knocked on your door. Everything before that belongs to someone else. Someone who trusted the system. Someone who believed innocence mattered. Someone who thought truth was enough. That person is gone. The therapist says grief takes many forms. You say you're not grieving. You're just recalibrating. She writes something down. You can't hold relationships, can't trust people, can't sleep without checking locks multiple times. You're 34 years old with the social skills of someone who spent their formative adult years learning prison politics instead of how to be human. The real perpetrator is serving 25 years now. He confessed to 14 robberies, including yours. He said he was high most of the time, didn't remember faces, didn't care about the people he hurt. The 3 witnesses who identified you never apologized. They were doing their civic duty. They were certainty without accuracy, confidence without truth. That's what a conviction looks like. Marcus still works the cases. He has a wall in his office with photographs of people he's helped exonerate. Yours is up there. You've seen it once when you went back to sign paperwork 3 months after your release. He was on the phone when you arrived, arguing procedure with someone at the DA's office, voice calm and precise and completely unmovable. You waited in the hallway. You looked at the photographs on the wall, faces you didn't know, years they'd lost, lives that had to be rebuilt from nothing. You exist now in the gap between freedom and life, legally free, psychologically imprisoned. The cell you carry is invisible but permanent. 9 years stolen by a system that prioritizes conviction over correction, that grinds through human lives in pursuit of efficiency. 3,000 people are estimated to be wrongfully imprisoned right now. 3,000 people sitting in cells knowing they're innocent and powerless to prove it. The levels don't end at release. They just change shape. If you enjoyed this one, we've got more stories on our other channels. Same style, different worlds. Links in the description.